Hey guys, welcome back. Behavior Strategies for Class. This is the podcast that is turning student behavior challenges into classroom success stories by helping teachers respond to challenging behavior with calm, clarity, and confidence so that every student can thrive. Guys, it's June. This episode is about June, and that June is hitting different, right? The routines have loosened, the emotions are rising, and teachers everywhere are feeling the weight of finishing strong. But what if June isn't about pushing harder? What if it's about letting go with intention? In this episode, we're walking through the mind shift that brings softness, clarity, and peace to the final weeks of school. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class, the show where your student behavior challenges become your classroom success stories. I'm Diane Bachman, a trauma-informed educator, a certified trauma-informed coach with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I help teachers respond to behavior with calm, clarity, and confidence while building real connection. Each week, we're going to break down those tough moments with practical trauma-informed strategies you can use right away. You'll hear stories that remind you you're not alone. And if you're ready for a calmer classroom, stronger relationships, and behavior support that actually works, you're in the right place. Let's get started. And before we get started, please hit that subscribe button, share this podcast, this episode with other colleagues that you know, so we can continue to learn and grow together. And if you have not left me a review yet, please pause, go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review really wherever you are listening. I would love to hear from you guys. So we're going to talk about 6 mindset shifts that you can do in June that will help you let go of this school year. So number 1 is that letting go is a skill, not a failure of commitment. So this is the time where you need to start letting go of this guilt, right? Did you do enough? Did you reach them? Did you miss something important? But just remember that letting go is not about abandoning the work, all of your hard work, your endless hours of heart and soul that you put into your teaching, but it's honoring the natural cycle of the school year. Because you had intense investment, you made meaningful impact, and now hopefully you can do some intentional release. So this episode really is for you to have closure, right? We've talked before about helping your students have closure. This is where you get permission to stop holding everything so tightly. That is your first mindset shift. So number 2 is, this is the science, right? This is where your brain needs closure to move forward. So this is where the trauma-informed lens comes in and reframes June as a neurological transition, because that's the same for your students, right? Now for you, your brain is shifting out of that high demand mode, right? Where you're looking to what the next lesson is going to be. Do you have everything ready for that next lesson? And then once you finish that, I got to hurry up and get this other lesson ready and be ready for engagement on that. Do you have all the activities ready for that? So helping your brain shift out of that high demand mode, I think it takes time, because like you're always on the go. You're always trying to think one step ahead, if not 2 or 3. And now you don't have any of those expectations or anything that you have to do. And to finally just let your brain kind of shut down a little bit. slow down a little bit. Also, what the brain needs for closure is that emotional residue sometimes from the year is going to rise to the surface. So for me, I am definitely a very emotional person. I can be, crying at cat commercials or dog commercials or whatever it is. I can cry pretty much over anything. And so sometimes those emotions I don't always process through. I'm not talking about the commercials, but some things that have happened with our students or with colleagues throughout the year. And we don't always take time to process through that because we got things that got to get done, right? We just keep moving on and don't take time to process any of that. So sometimes some of those emotions, like they're coming to the surface and you're like, wait, what is happening? But no, like some of that is just some emotional residue from the year. Another way your brain needs closure is, I know some of you feel relief and grief at the same time. Grief that you're going to miss this class. Maybe it's been one of your favorite classes, one of the best classes you've worked with. And there's a grieving, right, of that loss of having this group of kids together again. Other times it's relief. You are maybe ecstatic that this class this year is over, just about over, and you can't wait. There's no grief. You are so happy and relieved, and that's perfectly normal, just the same, right? There's no judgment here because I understand that for sure. And then just remember that some of your students are still acting out because the ending of the school year can make them feel unsafe because they will not have the predictable routine of school. So even some of your toughest kids, they are feeling very uneasy, very anxious, because they don't know what the summer is going to hold for them. And so their bodies are feeling that unsafe, unsettling. And so that does come out in some of their behaviors. Again, not an excuse for the behavior, but an understanding. And sometimes you need to show empathy or grace. So just remember that there is nothing wrong with you or your students. That some of this is what endings look like in your nervous system. So put away the shame and give yourself some grace, give yourself some compassion, and then share that with those around you. So number 3 for June mindset shift is that you don't have to tie every loose end. I'm sure some of you are probably yelling at me or laughing at me, but it's okay. You don't have to finish everything, I hope. Right? Every unit, getting every T crossed, getting every I dotted, every data point, every behavior plan, every parent communication, every classroom system, having everything shut down, closed perfectly. You're putting a bow on it and just setting it in the corner and it's done. Maybe some areas you are able to do that, and that's great. But you and we are not perfect. We are not machines. And so you do what you can. Because June is not just for completion, it's for closure. And closure is emotional, it's relational, it's reflective, not always logistic. So just know that you don't have to have the impossible task of wrapping up everything perfectly. All right, number 4, mindset shift for June is releasing the year so you don't drag it with you. Right? How many of us definitely at times have dragged the previous year into the present or upcoming year? And it doesn't feel good. Really doesn't. I'm not saying that you're not going to have lessons learned and you want to take those lessons with you. But just know that without a mindset shift, that you may possibly carry June's exhaustion into July and August. Nobody wants that if you can help it. So with a mind shift, you can intentionally set the year down. So what this looks like is, this is like a reflection. Being self-aware, reflecting, naming what went well. Was it the way you taught the lesson? Was it the way you had activities to engage your students? Was it even just the way you set up your classroom and the flow of everything just seemed to go a lot more smoother? Was it the way you set up groups and tables and had students paired with certain other students? Was it the curriculum that you just loved and you really got a lot out of it? What went well? Did you have a great team that you enjoyed working with? And then the next thing is acknowledging what was hard. So maybe it was hard to meet all those expectations of finishing each lesson on time so that you're moving on to the next thing. Maybe you didn't, that challenging student, like you just didn't have any release or any positivity that you could see from that student. Like, that's hard. What is it for you? Then celebrate growth. What growth did you see in your students? Not only academically, but maybe in their behaviors, socially. Their learning curve like just exploded and they went far above that. What was it that you saw the huge growth? Now, I would also say celebrate the growth in yourself. What did you see that really, and that's some of those challenges, right, of what was hard, but also realizing that you grew through going through that experience. Celebrate that growth. Then coming back down, grieve those losses. Sometimes it's like you had that student in interventions, you worked with that student one-on-one, but that student still just did not get that math concept. Or maybe it was their writing, or maybe it was like super heavy losses. Maybe some of your students lost a family member. Maybe you lost a family member. And we don't always take time, like I said before, to grieve those losses. But now is the time, as you're releasing the year, you're reflecting back, is to grieve those losses and whatever that looks like for you, right? And then release what you cannot change. I'm sure, just as a parent, like, my kids are older, that I could go back and like give myself the 500 questions of, I wish I would have done this. I wish I could have done this. Why didn't I do this? This would have turned out better, blah, 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 blah. Really, you could go on and on and on. And just as a teacher, you could do that too. And you will be talking yourself in circles because it doesn't help anything, right? To sit with all the what ifs, what should haves, what could haves, releasing that. And then carry forward only what is useful. So, what are some useful lessons that you learned over the year? And again, is it the teaching method that you used? Was it the curriculum you really enjoyed? Was it the layout? Was it the activities for your students? Was it the way you engaged with them? What do you want to carry forward? What was useful and what was successful? So this is super important step, I believe, in your mind shift is truly releasing the year, processing through all of these things, and then just letting go of those things that you can't change and take the lessons that you've learned and move on. So number 6 is a great one. This is one of the ones I love about a mindset shift for June and letting go of the year, because number 6 is letting go creates space for renewal. That's what's so amazing about being a learner, being a teacher, growing, being self-aware, is that we can renew ourselves in so many different ways. And so when you release that year, instead of clinging to it and just wishing like, oh, I wish I could have taken this class with me for the next year. I wish I could do all of this exactly the same, or maybe, whatever little pieces, you just want to cling on to it because like that was the best ever. But when you're able to release, reflect, release, you're creating space for rest, because now your mind can just kind of be at ease about everything. And to know you put, again, your heart and soul, endless hours into teaching the best way that you knew how. And now just letting your body release and rest. The only thing with this, I feel, is that I got sick. I got the flu like the week after we got out for summer. And was that because I was finally feeling rested and letting go of all the things? Sometimes I feel like it is, because your body's just like, oh, okay. And then, I don't know. I mean, I was in bed for a few days and I got rest, whether I technically wanted it that way or not. But also, it creates space for creativity. This is what I love too. Sometimes I like to paint, like on canvases, different things. I haven't done it in a while, but it's a great creative outlet. Another thing that I've also enjoyed is crocheting. Sometimes it's just like redecorating my house in that shifting things around. And sometimes I buy like a couple new things and it just feels refreshed, right? Refreshed in my home. And then when you let go, you are creating space for new ideas. Because once you can let go of the past and how that year went and how math went last year, you can now look back and think, okay, of some new ideas, new ways that you can energize the lesson for the next year. Letting go also creates space for healthier boundaries. And that could be for a lot of things, right? I think of sometimes, right, you have a colleague that is not your favorite person and that you maybe not necessarily may hang out with, but you work together. So you have to be, cohesive and cordial and friendly and all the things, right? To have a positive learning environment as much as possible. But when that summertime hits, you can put up that healthy boundary and say, no, I don't want to go to the movies with you. No, I don't want to go have coffee together. No, I don't want to have lunch together. Like knowing that you can put up these healthy boundaries. And sometimes it's now your time management. You have a little more control over that now, and you can put up those boundaries about how you spend your time. And don't feel guilty about it. Letting go creates space for a gentler start in August. Now, I know I don't want to talk about August. You don't want to hear about August, so that's all I'm going to say about August. And then lastly, letting go creates space that you don't have to drag this year into the next one. You can honor it, process through it, grieve it, and let it go. It's so powerful to know that you can just let it go. You did the very best that you could do, and it's okay to let it go now. So just remember that June isn't the end of the story. It's the soft landing. It's a place for you to breathe, to loosen your shoulders, have some fun with your students, have some fun with your peers, your colleagues, and to remember that you did what you could and it mattered. It made a difference. All that you did truly equipped your students to move on to the next level of their education. And so remember also that a place to let go, let the year go, is with gratitude instead of pressure. You feel pressure all year long. Now is the time to release that pressure. Reflect. So, which mindset shift are you going to work on? Knowing that letting go is a skill and not a failure of commitment. To know that your brain needs closure to move forward. That you don't have to tie every loose end. That you can release the year and not drag it with you. And know that letting go creates space for renewal. That's what's exciting. That's what's exciting for the next year. But again, we're not talking about that because it's summertime. So we're not ready for that. But again, think about or listen to this podcast again on changing your June mindset shift for letting go of the year, letting go of all that you have done and accomplished and prepared your students to be the best that they can be for the next year. You guys are amazing and you deserve to have a summer filled with laughter and joy and hugs and fun and adventure. And I hope you get all of it. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button, so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.